Did it work?
Looks like it's working, so we're live and in full effect. I think we can see if I can share it. All right. Yep, we're on Twitter. You can share it directly from Twitter.
Cool. Whoops, what the heck? There we go. All right, yeah, I see it on your page.
We are officially back. We are officially back. What up? What it is? What's popping? It's the neighborhood nice guy, K Dot, and welcome to a new season, a new episode of Keeping It 9450, codename WBB. I have my illustrious co-host with me. She is now like not just Lolivia Pope. Like she is uh I don't know how else to call my sister right now because like she is booked and busy. None other than obviously our favorite co-host of Keeping It 9450, codename WBB, also co-host of the best damn W, also co-host of the Great Spaces with our homies Jada and Megan, our one and only Lolivia, aka Lolo Bike, aka Lolo, aka Big Low, aka Lil Low, aka all the lows. What's going on with you, my sister? It's so good to be back in the number with you. What's good?
Absolutely. It's been a long time. I mean, we've clearly talked on stump jump ball and study hall and stuff of that nature, but it's good to be back home where it all started. I'm happy to be back.
Absolutely. And we have one of the biggest episodes of our I guess career because the WNBA is back and it's in full effect. I mean, first things first, we are live. So I do want to give a shout out to everybody out there that is retweeting and being engaged with the Met Gala. We did see a lot of our amazing athletes at the Met Gala this evening doing their thing. Shout out to the New York Liberty. I've seen John Quell, Stewie, Saab. I've seen Angel Reese, out there doing her thing. So I really wanted to shout them out right quick. But again, action-packed episode. We're going to talk about a few things. We're not going to keep you guys long. There's been a lot that's going on. Of course, we're going to talk about the preseason games. Going to talk about a little bit what's going on the waiver wire. A few players have already been waived. We'll talk about that. And of course, tomorrow, the release of the Pink Aura A1s. We got to talk about that and the great commercials that came out of that. Nike did their big one. You know, let's jump right into it. First things first, a little bit of business here. So, of course, we want to give a shout out to all of our sponsors. SeatGeek, trying to catch an WNBA game this season. Use SeatGeek to grab your tickets, and don't forget, use promo code the 9450 to get $20 off your first purchase. That's the 9450 SeatGeek. We also have Welshmo Coffee. Need game day energy? Welshmo Coffee has your back. Bold blends, smooth finish, and made for hoopers like you. Head over to Welshmo Coffee and power up your mornings the WNBA way. Again, preseason action. We had incredible preseason action that went down this past weekend. I don't know where to start off, to be honest with you, Lo. Like, I really want to like just jump right into it. So I guess we could start off with the Las Vegas Aces versus the Dallas Wings. Obviously, Paige Beckers making her debut. And let's be also reminded that this preseason game occurred in South Bend, right?
Mhm.
It was at Notre Dame. Shout out to all of the Irish, the Fighting Irish out there playing in the WNBA. They what they're calling it guard you,
Mhm.
nowadays. So I want to just get your thoughts on the overall game. Obviously, it was the Dallas Wings versus the Las Vegas Aces. Of course, with the Dallas Wings, you have Arike Agumbawale, who is an alum of Notre Dame, and then you have Jackie Young on the other side for the Las Vegas Aces. But what were your initial thoughts coming into this game, and what were your thoughts, overall about the game within itself? And we did have a little bit of spice that happened. I saw it today. I was like, ooh, ooh, that's crazy. So, what are your thoughts there?
To be honest, the game went exactly how I thought it would go in regards to Dallas not, looking disjointed for a lack of better words, and that's to be expected. They are a brand new team with a brand new rookie head coach. Like, it's going to take a while for them to get on one like level of cohesion and gain chemistry and just like look like a well-oiled machine. Like, they're probably not going to look like a well-oiled machine until, to be honest, I would say either right before the All-Star break or right after the All-Star break. I'm leaning more towards after because they'll need that time, during the short period for All-Star break to kind of get it together as well. But it's going to take time. So people got to relax. Like, I already seen people trying to call for the man's job. Chris down in Dallas, like, damn, it was one game in preseason, and then you're going against a team that's going to be a top four team in the league. So it's not like you were going against scrubs. You're going against the best player in the world, and you're going against three other, no, yeah, three other Olympians on the team. So, I don't know what people really expected. I also love seeing Jackie Young and Chelsea Gray just healthy, like just healthy. And you can see Jackie 28 points, 9 assists. And it was just literally, she looked like pre-injury Jackie. She's getting to her spot. She's shooting the three well. She's getting to the rim, finishing through contact. She's looking good, and Chelsea was looking good as well. I mean, Asia, we already know we're getting from Asia, so that's not a shocker. But the I guess the likelihood of how far this team will go, like, yes, we know Asia's gonna do what Asia does, but it really lies on Jackie, Chelsea, Jewel, and then whatever they can get off the bench, which was, I think, the most surprising for me. The bench looked great so far, and again, it's a very small sample size, only one game. Um, you know, from the rookies to even Tiffany Mitchell out there bringing energy. I like what I saw, to be honest, off the bench. My hope is that Becky plays them because I think that they can actually do something. I think in regards to like talent, I've been calling like the bench players right now. It's kind of like a redemption team, right? Dana Evans didn't get the best hand when she was in Chicago to show what she can do. So now this is her second chance to really prove what she can do. Tiffany Mitchell was dealing with sepsis and other issues prior, to this year. So now she's trying to prove herself that she, is a solid WNBA player, which I agree. She's great on both sides of the floor. Y'all can see her physique. Like, people talk about Jackie a lot, but Tiffany Mitchell has a body. Like, she is strong as shit. And when we had her on the show before, she said that, her job outside of basketball, she's a personal trainer. So it makes sense. Aaliyah Nye, I'll let you talk about the rookie. I don't want to take all the talking space, but yeah, like everyone looked pretty good. They looked like a well-oiled machine, and I'm just excited to see how they do, throughout the season and just if they can maintain health. I think that'll be the biggest thing. But from top down, that starting five is deep. That starting five is very deep.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. And of course, as you said, the star of the night, Jackie Young, dropping 28 points, having 9 assists. And then of course Asia chipping in with 19. But
Hmm.
like you said, the rookie, Aaliyah Nye. I mean, let me just talk about how great of a pick that was, in my opinion, because
Hmm. And
in
you called it too. I just want to give you credit for that. You called it. Like you were like she would be great on that. I mean on the Aces and she did her thing and I know it's just one game, but
yeah,
they
yeah.
need her like that shooting. They need that. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, we talked about this prior to myself and Jay, and shout out to Jay doing,
Mhm.
our mock draft, and I do that intentionally because a lot of these mock drafts are literally out here just to give you kind of like clickbait. But
Mhm.
like when we as the 9450 and anybody who comes into our circle, when we're doing these mock drafts, we're literally doing it based off of what teams truly need, not
Mhm.
necessarily best available, even though best available could always be available. But Aaliyah Nye, I had her going the in the second part of that draft, not second round per se, but I think the third round, like whatever that later pick that um that the Las Vegas Aces had, I had her going in that spot. Deja Kelly ends up going in that spot,
Mhm.
but I mean to chip in 17 off the bench and have that shooting stroke, and of course, obviously, I think one of the biggest things about Aaliyah Nye is very, very ambitious when it comes to defense. So she can, have her hands in the cookie jar just a little bit too much.
Mhm.
So if she can dial that back just a little bit, I think that she would be really, really good, as a great provider off the bench for this Las Vegas Aces team.
Yeah.
And she looked really, really good with Tiffany Mitchell. She looked good with Jackie Young in some of those spots. She
Mhm.
looked good with Jewel Lloyd in some of those spots. So I truly believe that Aaliyah Nye can be a great asset, to this Las Vegas Aces squad. And for her to go, in that second round, I believe I had Sarah Ashley. I think I had her teammate Sarah
Yeah, I think
Ashley
so. Uh-huh.
going in that spot, but she ended up, going to LA a little bit early in the first round. So I just believe that Aaliyah Nye can do a lot of what was lacking last
Mhm.
year and will be able to provide, a great spark. But again, before we move on to the next game, I have to talk about this just a little bit because I mean we are live. Our family is here. Shout out to everybody out there listening. There was something that surfaced with Hannah Hidalgo and and Olivia Miles. And the way that the body language looked in the beginning, I thought everything was all good, dapping each other up. It was all good. Olivia Miles looking like, the stresses of whatever, whatever. And then Hannah kind of gave a little flip. And when you see
Yeah.
this,
Yeah. It's on site.
it's on site. You know what I'm saying? Like when you start seeing the finger pointing, the little gun and doing that, and then Olivia Miles on the flip side doing this.
Right. Like
Like,
me?
like,
Like,
like
yeah.
what is going on here? And I know that it's taken away a little bit from the game itself because, by the way, Paige to me was phenomenal in her debut
Yeah.
10 points, had some great looks, and again, like you said, Dallas just has to figure it out, and they will figure it out obviously,
Yeah.
but going
I need
back,
her to shoot more though.
yeah, yeah, she
Like Gino's been
definitely
saying,
needs
she
to
got to
shoot
shoot
more.
more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely needs to shoot more. I definitely agree with you on that. But going back to that little situation, like how crazy was that to watch? And obviously we're not TMZ or anything or any of the tabloids, but what can we make out of this situation? Now we know and can confirm that there was something going on
Yeah.
as speculated, at the end of the season. We can't say it was during the season. We saw it more at the end of the season, but we now know that something was going on. And what do you make of that situation?
I think again, I've heard from a few people that are very close to Notre Dame, and it doesn't sit well that Olivia Miles went to the ops for a lack of better words. But I think in seeing this interaction between them two, number one, shout out to Hannah for standing on whatever the hell she was standing on. Because when you standing on all 10, that's how you come and stand on all 10. I'm not half-assing it. I'm coming to you no matter the venue, no matter where we at, like what was said. So shout out to Hannah for that. Now, I don't know what was said. I honestly don't care what was said. However, I think it further proves the point I made in multiple podcasts or even in multiple times in me talking on Twitter in regards to it was some jealousy there. It was some jealousy there. And I don't care what anyone says. Like, I literally don't because I know it for a fact because I've talked to people within the organization. So I know for a fact that it was something going on there. Okay. And we could clearly see it in their interaction. Now, is Liv justified for having a little bit of jealousy? Absolutely. Think about it, y'all. Like, this is a kid that went to Notre Dame. She took a chance on Notre Dame because if we remember correctly, after the Marina and Enrique, it was a short period of time where Notre Dame wasn't like we weren't talking about Notre Dame like we have for the last couple of years. So Liv came in, took a chance on Niele becoming the head coach. They gave her the keys. She did well. Unfortunately, she got injured, right? Just so happened when she got injured, Hannah stepped in and exceeded everyone's expectations, probably even her own, to be honest. Like, I know she's a very confident kid, but I don't know if she thought she was going to have that type of freshman season, especially with Liv out. So came in, okay, so you're rehabbing for over 300 something days. You think when you get back, I'm getting the keys back because remember, this is my shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, or at bare minimum, we're sharing the keys. When Liv came back, that was not the case at all. It was the Hannah Hidalgo show. Okay. Um, you could see this is no disrespect. I love Niele, but you could see a little bit of favoritism as well. Hannah would be playing out of control. Niele wasn't pulling her. Liv getting cooked on defense and getting pulled for good reason. I think she should have got pulled, but you can't let Hannah play out of control too and not pull her as well. So I could see how it could be some type of favoritism as well. And you got to think of it even from a monetary spot. So number one, my pride is hurt because we have to remember athletes are competitors. They are they don't like they have high pride. They're confident typically. Like they're competitors. They want to win. So number one, someone took your keys to your program. Number two, she's taking money out your mouth because when you think of NIL and when you think of Notre Dame, you think of Hannah. She's the first person you think of. Liv is like the second person or the afterthought, respectfully, right? And so, who do you think those NIL deals are going to? So, not only did you take my shine, now you're taking my bread. So now it is smoke. So I can get it from Liv's point of view too. I do get it. And again, I don't know what the issue was, but this situation literally shows or further proves that it was a little bit of beef between them.
Yeah, 1000% again agree once again. And hopefully, they do what most adults do, right? And again, we're talking about from a age standpoint,
Mm-hmm.
not fully, I mean, legally maybe, but not fully, right? Hannah Hidalgo is still, under the age of 21, obviously, but
Mm-hmm.
hopefully, they can kind of chop it up, put the water under the bridge, and move forward with their respective careers because I do think they do have bright careers. But just wanted to kind of point that out. It was
Did you
um,
see the lady that was getting the angle? She was hanging over the railing. I'm like, that is
yeah.
dedication, sister. That's dedication.
When we talk about newsworthy,
Listen.
like I mean, the different dynamics of how news is brought to us has changed so much because of the emergence of social media and
Hmm.
how we consume our news now. It's so funny. And not to get too much off subject, but now that you kind of experience things, everything now that you experience like this, literally,
Hmm.
and not actually have your eyes set on what's going on.
Right.
But moving forward into the next preseason game, we are going to head from South Bend to Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And the Chicago Sky and Angel Reese, um, they took on the Brazilian national team. And, obviously, that game, once again, from an exhibition standpoint, um, was a pretty, lopsided game, a 89-62 victory for the Sky. I think that, the debut, obviously, of head coach Tyler Marsh, who is shout out to Tyler Marsh, by the way, friend of the program. Um, I think that in his debut, he did pretty solid with
Mhm.
the new team that he has, right? Obviously, of course, you have Angel Reese, you have Camila Cardoso, and we saw that the first thing that they wanted to do was feed Camila,
Mhm.
obviously going against her, national team. Um, and from that standpoint, looking at it, of course, Brazil came out pretty fiery, pretty solid. But then in that second quarter, you could tell that Coach Talamar said, "All right, it's time to lock in. Let's see what we can do from a chemistry standpoint." The one thing that sticks out to me about this Chicago Sky team is the shooting will be much better. Um, I think that with Kia Nurse coming in, um, not necessarily having the best shooting percentage night, however, with the penetration and kicking of the veteran Courtney Vandersloot, you saw some actions
Mhm.
where you were able to see how they will be able to get open shots, and I think that that was very promising. Um,
Mhm.
Obviously, of course, just like Dallas, this is a team that is kind of retooled. So there is going to be some type of restructure going on as far as chemistry, of course, new coaching staff, right? Again, with the free agents that came in and Kia Nurse and Courtney Vandersloot, and from a trade standpoint, Beck Allen, right?
Mhm.
All of them coming in and having to mesh with Angel Reese and Camila Cardoso and Michaela Onyenwere. I think that they could be, a pretty solid squad. I wouldn't say, they would be, top four or anything like that, but I think that they can be a solid squad. So what was your take on Chicago? And what was your take on their first round draft pick in Haley Van Lith?
I was shocked they actually took her that high, to be honest with you. Um, I was really shocked they took her that high, actually. I didn't anticipate her going in the first round, to be honest. And if it was the first round, I thought it was gonna be like the lower end of the first round. But Haley surprised me. She actually looked good out there. You could tell that one of the focal points that she's been working on has to have been finishing through contact because on her first
Absolutely.
bucket, she literally sought the contact and then was able to finish and get the and one. So you can tell that people have been in her ear about like the WNBA is physical. You're gonna get bodied. Like you're already a smaller guard. Like you have to be able to withstand the contact. And she did well in the first preseason game. So, was looking aggressively for her shot. um, I have no real critiques, no negative critiques, at least on her. She did pretty well. But overall, I would say the Chicago team just looks different. I know it's a lot of different players on the team as well, but the offense already looks completely different from last year. Tyler Marsh is there, of course, now, and I think they're easily a playoff team, to be honest. Just more fluidity in the offense now. They have more shooters, like you mentioned, Kia Nurse. You got the 3 and D Beck Allen. You got Courtney Vandersloot, who can still shoot the ball as well. So now they can actually spread the floor. Opponents can't just pack in the paint and solely guard Angel and Camilla. They have to actually get out on the shooters as well. And I think it looks like Tyler's been playing a little bit of like four out, one in. Like Camilla's just inside the paint. Angel's a little bit more, on the wing and stuff like that to give Camilla a little bit more room to operate with. And then I think that's great for her because a lot of people forget she's an underrated passer. Like she sees over everyone standing at 6'7". So she's an underrated passer. And I think like with Angel, Camilla, and then you got Elizabeth Williams coming off the bench, like People forget that ain't Elizabeth Williams was off to like the best start of her career last year before she got injured. So that's a veteran weapon that you're bringing off the bench. And I also the player that I want to see Tyler Marsh like tap into and really get the full potential out of them is Michaela. I think she's special and I think she has so much untapped potential that coaches haven't really got to yet. And I think Tyler is the best to kind of pull that out of her for multiple reasons, but mainly being we saw what he did for Jackie Young's game. We know that he can help players develop and get to their highest level, their pinnacle of, skill. So I'm looking forward to see number one, if she's used properly, but more importantly, just how she develops throughout the season. I think even with Angel, you can see a lot of people had shit to say about, oh, she shouldn't play on Rival. Oh, she needs to go overseas and play. Rival made her better. Like, not saying Rival was the only thing. Like, you got to give Angel credit for putting in the work. You got to give Angel credit for, staying in the gym in the hours that we didn't see, the videos that we didn't see. Like, you could tell that she literally put working on her game this summer, or I'm sorry, during the off season, and she's going to just continue to get better. So they're looking good. Camilla's looking good, and I'm excited to see how far the Chicago team can go. I think they're going to shock a lot of people. Like I'm not saying they're top four, but to me, they're definitely a playoff team.
Yeah, I don't know if we're gonna disagree a lot. We hardly ever disagree. Have we disagreed any?
I don't
Seriously.
know. I really don't know, actually.
Like anyway, that's only because great minds think alike. But moving on to Saturday's games and well, Saturday's game in the Washington Mystics and the Indiana Fever. Um, in this case, Caitlin Clark did not play. It was reported it was a lower leg injury that they were keeping her out for precaution. And they took on the Indiana Fever. The new look Indiana Fever took on the Washington Mystics. And early on, you really didn't see a lot. They did get the victory 79-74 in overtime. Um, Sophie Cunningham was the kind of like the pivotal role, if you will, playing multiple positions, and ended with 21 off the bench. Lexi Hall added 13 points. And I think that, just from a perspective, like we talked about again with Dallas, with Chicago, the cohesion, new coaching staff, of course, with Coach Stephanie White bringing her talents from Connecticut, bringing herself back home,
Hmm.
and being with this Indiana Fever team now, it was a lot to see. And I think that at one point, I don't know if they finished with with the turnover numbers, but I know it was 20 plus in that game. Indiana, you saw flashes. I've been saying it on Twitter pretty much all week, and even before that, with Caitlin Clark, this team is going to look really, really good. And
Yeah.
if they lock in defensively, they will for sure be what everyone is predicting them to be in a top four team. Um, I think that just looking at the dynamics of what we saw on Saturday, there were a few actions that I saw where I was like, okay, I see the vision.
Hmm.
There's going to be a lot of read and react. There's going to be a lot of you know floppy action where you have the shooters coming from the paint. Um, you're going to have a lot of high pick and roll action with Aaliyah Boston and with Natasha Howard. Natasha Howard is going to be more of pick and pop. Um, they have someone in a Dewana Bonner that can go one on one with under 7 seconds on the shot clock.
Hmm.
I think that they have all the tools that they need to be successful this year. And the Washington Mystics, to me, to be honest with you, I know that everything is brand new. I know that they're going to be playing a lot of young talent, but whether they're bad or not, they're to me, I think that we're going to see some games where it's going to be enjoyable to watch.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be honest with you, I'm just not going to shit on Washington, um, because we know what it is in Washington. Like we
Yeah.
know they're going to potentially be a bottom feeder in this league, but they do have no quit in grit to their attitudes, and they've been this way, since as long as I can remember.
Yeah.
And they made the game look good even without Caitlin Clark. They made the game look good. They were up the majority of
Mm-hmm.
that game.
Mm-hmm.
So again, your thoughts on both Indiana and Chicago. Before you go, I really love Sonia Citron with them. Now I'll get into one player that more than likely will get waived, but I gotta get my take off with this particular player, because I think she's the reason that they lost the game. But what are your thoughts on that game on Saturday? Because again, we're going to talk about Indiana, against the Brazilian national team.
I think, to be honest, the Mystics surprised me the most. Like you said, just kind of echoing what you said. I don't think anyone expects them to be a top team. Hell, I don't even think they expect to be that. However, they're going to compete. That's one thing that they can always hold their hats on. Since I would say easily since they won a championship in 2019, every team since then, injuries or not, they've just been competitive. And so I think we'll see that again this year because this was without Aaliyah Edwards. This was without Shakir Austin. Like these are without their two of their heavy hitters on the team, and they were still able to take this game into OT. The coach did well in letting the rookies and people that are trying to make the team play as well. Like he gave them an opportunity to showcase what they could do. So I enjoyed that. But if the Mystics can stay healthy, again, I'm not saying that they'll make the playoffs, but they can beat, some teams and possibly knock them out of playoff contention or what I'm saying? Like they are going to give on some like off nights, they're going to beat some of the better teams. Just off of their sheer like resiliency and just grit. So I think that's the biggest thing I took away for Indiana. I would say the defense was pretty ugly to watch. Like it was terrible actually, to be honest. And I won't even say like with Caitlyn playing, the defense would have been a lot better. I do think it would have been a little bit better, but it's not like she's a defensive guru. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like, she's defensive player of the year and is about to be out there stopping people. Now, if people say like the offense was stagnant and stuff of that nature, then yeah, that's when Caitlyn comes in and does what she does best, and that's play make and shoot the damn ball. But defensively, it was nasty. But again, that's what we expect. Like this is a I won't say a brand new team because their core is the same in terms of Caitlin, Kelsey, and AB. But new coach, you're adding new veterans in there. You're adding just a lot of talent to the roster, and so it's going to take time to click. I think that they'll click a little bit before Dallas does, and I only say that because they've already had that core there. But also, when you have veterans, they know how to kind of just get in where they fit in. They know how to do their role correctly. And I think they'll win games off of sheer talent as well. Before they even put it all together, they'll win games just from sheer talent. So Sophie still being Sophie, but I do like how Kiki let her know, like, hey, chill out, sister,
That's a
chill out.
fact. Shout out
Like
to
this
Kiki.
ain't no welcome to the WNBA moment. Now your ass is on the ground. What's up?
Shout out to Kiki area fan, for sure. Uh, and I just want to, before we again move forward, JoJo Lacey.
Hmm.
I got to talk to you right quick because there was some instances in that game in the fourth quarter where you're up six and you take one ill-advised shot.
Hmm.
Um, they come down, Indiana comes down and scores. You come back and you turn the ball over. Indiana comes back and scores. Now you're only up two. You were up six. You
Right.
were up six with
The
like,
Mystics should have won that game.
yeah, you were up six
Yeah.
with like maybe about 43 something odd seconds left. Again, take that ill-advised shot with like, I
Yeah.
think it was like maybe 12 seconds left on the shot clock.
You got to let it run down. Yeah.
Let the clock run down.
Like you're up. What are you rushing
Yeah,
for?
and then you make a bad pass. The very next possession, and then they get a stop. Indiana does, and then it's a foul on a loose ball. On Washington's side of the ball, there's a loose ball foul, and
Right.
you're already over the limit, and
Right.
you force uh, Sophie Cunningham to hit two free throws at the end of that, at the end of regulation. Um, that's one thing. That's one of those things where it gets you waved.
Yeah.
Like I'm looking at that, and I'm like, oh well,
Because we're looking at basketball IQ at this
right.
point.
At this point, it's IQ again. 10, 12 seconds left on the shot clock, and we're talking about putting up that ill-advised shot, and then you're turning the ball over the very next possession. You have to be better than that.
Yeah.
That was just my coach's eye. It almost gave me a headache watching that, and I needed to kind of call that out. I'm sorry to call that out publicly, but
It is
again,
what
that's
it is.
just yeah, it's just the coach's thing in me. So, moving forward, into the next game, we had Indiana and the Brazilian national team at Carver Hawkeye Arena. Caitlin Clark, of course, back, where it all started.
Hmm.
She finished with 16.6 boards, 5 assists. Had one of the craziest logo threes I've seen.
Hmm.
I think it was in that third quarter. Um, she looks really good. She looks stronger.
Yep.
To me, she looks faster. Just looking at it, it's almost like the game has slowed down so
Yeah.
well for her. And yes, the Brazilian national team is not another WNBA team. I get that. However, when you have these sort of moments, you're looking at certain things as a basketball person. You're just noticing and observing certain things. What did she get better at from last year to now? And again, one serving sample size, like it's just
Hmm.
one sample size, but she looked extremely good. And of course, they routed the Brazilian national team 108 to 44. And I think that we're going to see a lot of century mark um, numbers for Indiana depending on, depending on the night.
Yeah.
If they're super fresh, I think they can score 100 on you. If they're coming off, back to backs or things like that, maybe, we won't see it. But I do think that they're going to post a lot of century mark games this year. So what was your take on Caitlin Clark? She to me she looked really good.
Before I get into Caitlin, if their defense is looking the way that it's been looking, they're gonna have to score 100 to win.
Yeah, yeah.
They might just go
They
with
got
the
they got to lock
I was
in.
gonna
Yeah.
say, I was gonna say they might just go with the mind, the mindset of, hey, if we can outscore them, we can outscore any team. We just gonna do that. But in regards to Caitlin, the first thing that I noticed was just how great of shape she was in and just her muscle mass. She picked up some
Yep.
muscle mass, some weight. Um, and I think that will help her, stand her ground a little bit more this year and not get knocked around as much. But I want to say one thing about the WNBA because I'm always very hard on Kathy and the powers that be that make these decisions for the WNBA. I love what they're doing in regards to going back to these college towns of their franchise players. And I like it because it's kind of nostalgic. It reminds me of when the league before the league started, when that Olympic team had to play in different cities in order to promote the WNBA even coming into fruition because back then technology wasn't what it is now. They couldn't, you know, tell hop on Twitter and tell everybody WNBA starting. Like they literally had to show people, and spread the word that way. And that's why you would see when it was on NBC, you would see the games would be sold out and the viewership was high because they sparked interest for people to watch. So anyway, it gives me those kind of vibes and that kind of feel because we know that it's been a gap between, college women's hoops and the WNBA. And so I love that they're trying to bridge that gap because people truly go hard for their college teams. And I just love that they went back to Iowa. I love that they went back to Notre Dame, LSU. Love it. Keep it up, Kathy. But in regards to Caitlin, um, I think she's going to be in conversations, MVP conversations this year. I think with the talent, the Fever did it right. I mean,
They did.
they
They
did it
did.
right. I mean, I don't know. it's, a lot of people hate it, but the Fever did it right. Like, this is how you build around your young star, and I'll say stars because AB is a star too. So this
Facts.
is how you build around your young stars. Like, you go get veteran leadership, you go get players that have won before, you go get a coach that knows what to do and has proven to be successful in her own right. Like, you surround her with shooters, you surround her with defenders, you surround her with like thing, you know what I'm saying? Like, you just surround them like this is how you build around your superstars. And I'm excited to see what Indiana could do. I've gone on record and said I think they'll finish top 3 or 4, if they can put it all together. Again, this is very small sample size. I also think that Caitlin Clark will lead the league in assists again this year. Um, and yeah, I mean, I think her shooting numbers are going to go up too, because it's not going to be when you have players like DB, Natasha Howard, Kelsey Mitchell still there and AB there. It's like you have so many players that can score, so they can't just focus totally on you because you're going to lose the game if you only focus on her. So I think she'll get a little bit easier looks. I do like that she's added that floater, like that key, like when she's in the key, like or in the paint, like I love that she had that floater because before, even in college, we never saw her really doing that. You know what I'm saying? And I think that she needed to add that to her game. So you can tell that it was a focal point of for her to work on this offseason because I saw her do it a few times in the last game. So I have high hopes for the Fever. I hate that for myself because most of their fans are very annoying. But I'm just blocking this year and muting people. Actually, I'm not even muting. I'm just blocking folk that are annoying and racist. And I just simply want to enjoy hoops. And Indiana is going to be a fun team to watch.
Yeah, I feel you on that one. And before we move forward, I want to, give a shout out to Aaliyah Boston. Like, I'm just gonna tell y'all this right now. That DHO with anyone, as long as Aaliyah has the ball in her hand, the
Mhm.
DHO is going to be crazy because you have to protect the shooting. And if she doesn't give it up on the DHO, she can literally put the ball on the floor and attack the rim. I think
Dribble
she's
handoff
going.
people because
Dribble
the
hand. Yes, I'm sorry.
average.
I'm sorry. Dribble handoff, guys. DHO means dribble handoff. And if you don't
Yes.
know what a dribble handoff is literally player has ball in hand, literally take one dribble or a couple dribbles and hand it off to the next player and sets a screen at the same time without moving. That's
Yes.
what a dribble handoff is. But I can see a lot of DHOs coming out of Kelsey Mitchell and AB, coming out of Caitlin Clark and AB, coming
Hmm.
out of Natasha Howard and Kelsey. Like I can see all of it. And I think Stephanie White is going to be very much of an evil genius when it comes to those types of plays because when you're playing and hedging hard off of the 3-point shot, you can literally it's almost like the Steph Curry Draymond Green effect. And
Yeah,
I don't like to compare NBA to WNBA side, but that's
but
almost the
it is.
best
Yeah.
way to describe it if you're not an avid WNBA watcher. So kudos to Indiana for sure. Moving on to the Seattle Storm and Connecticut Sun, Skylar Diggins.
Bike.
Skylar Diggins. Spike. Skylar Diggins.
Hold the
Um,
Smith.
so an incredible victory for the Seattle Storm, 79-59 on yesterday. I think that again, when we look at the new look Seattle Storm, they lose Jewel Lloyd in the trade to Las Vegas, but they add some great talent in Lexi Brown, Zaya
Mhm.
Cook, Lee Yuru. Those three, they all played for LA last year, and
Facts.
coming in, Lee Yuru is going to be a
Bro,
monster.
she was cooking. She was
He is
cooking.
going to be a monster off the bench for them. Ezzy Megbagor, and I call her Damo, Dominique Malunga. I'm calling her Damo. I've seen tape on Damo, and I'm telling y'all this right now, and I hope I'm not wrong, but I'm telling y'all this right now. When I talk about talent, that's some talent that's coming out of Seattle in the next 10, 12, 13. Like, I'm serious. That tape on
Hey,
her
that
does not lie.
If
That
it's listen, if based on the tapes I've seen too, I'm almost, and you know I don't like to use this term. I'm almost ready to say it. Generational. I'm almost willing to say it. I gotta see a little bit more,
right, of course, of course, of course.
but she has it.
Like,
She, and this is no disrespect to Paige by any means, but Dominique might have the highest ceiling in the draft and be the best player in the draft. And I love Paige, but
again, shout out to Jay. Jay and I spent maybe about 30, 40 minutes on watching Damo tape alone.
yeah,
It took us that long. We knew she was going to be the number 2 pick. We knew it. But just looking at the film,
yeah,
you can see flashes of fluidity. You can see flashes of a dynamic rim runner.
yeah,
You can see flashes of passing. You can see flashes of dominance in the paint. And might I add, the Seattle Storm is very, very tall
and
at
that's what
that
that was one
forward
of my
spot.
points. Yes,
And they, again, chemistry is very, very important. We're talking about a small window of opportunities for these women to gain chemistry with each other.
yeah.
They don't have a whole summer to figure it out. They don't even have a whole spring, a
Shit,
whole
Dominique not even
winter.
she not even America yet, is she? Is she back yet?
She
Okay,
she did attend, if I'm not mistaken, she did attend the game on yesterday,
okay,
but she had just flew in.
right,
Literally.
okay, yeah, yeah,
I don't even think she was 24 hours in.
yeah.
And I think that just by looking at the dynamics of it, they look really, really good. Of course, I think that Zaya Cook did an amazing job. I think that her experience, not experience, but her going to Australia, I think helped her
Helped.
a lot.
Mhm.
Um,
She looks a
um,
lot more confident out there too.
very, very
Yeah.
confident. I think that she's picking her spots wisely. Again, 1 game sample size, no overreaction, but I am going to react to what I see. The film tells no lie.
You think
Um,
she makes the team?
I hope she makes the team, and I think that they will have they need guards to me.
Hmm.
So yes, they do have the iron the, the iron wall up front,
Yeah.
with those forwards, right? But they are going to need guards. I,
Erica Wheeler didn't look too bad either.
she didn't look too bad either. To be honest with you, um, so hopefully she does make this squad. Um,
I'm gonna be honest. When I saw that they signed her to a camp contract, I said, "There's no way she's making the team." I said, "There's
it
absolutely
was,
no way
yeah,
she's not making it." Right?
yeah,
Because I remember in LA, she didn't really give many opportunities, and then when she would get in the game, it didn't really do much for me.
right.
But she took advantage of her
She took
opportunities
advantage
this time around.
for sure.
You
She
know
took
what I'm saying?
advantage.
And so I know they got Skylar, Lexi, Erica, but I mean, I like what Zaya was doing. I'm not gonna lie. I
Yeah,
like what she was
yeah,
doing.
I really
My
do.
thing is I think that the main thing that I noticed with Seattle is like you said, their length. So when you have Nneka, Ezzy, Dominique, and even when you throw like Gabby, Lee, it's like they are going to be so lengthy. Like they could easily have one of the best defenses in the WNBA easily.
Yeah,
Because then you also have Skylar Diggins as your POA defender.
yeah.
Like we saw what she did. She was giving people hell at Unrivaled. Like she's just feisty in your face. She'll guard you 94 feet if need be. Like so we already know what we have at least one of the guard positions. And then you got I don't even want to say the Twin Towers. You got multiple, just big bodies down there that can also defend. So I think that they're going to be at the top of like the in regards to defensive teams. I think that they're going to be one of the best in the WNBA this year.
I agree. I would not be surprised at all if they are top 3 in defensive efficiency, like at all. Defensive statistical impact. I think that you will have at least two to three individuals at sitting at the top there. And if they do finish top six, someone, whether it be Dominique, Ezzy, you know, I think Ezzy more than Dominique from a defensive player of the year standpoint, for sure. But I think that'll be incredible, for them. They look really, really good. To be honest with you guys, I'm not even going to get too much into the Connecticut Sun because the sun set for Lauren Betts. I'm sorry, I just can't talk about them. They didn't look. We know what it is
Right.
with Connecticut, and
Tank it for low. It ain't nothing wrong with that.
I am going to be very, very cautious in saying this as well. Um, you know, prayers to Sanaya Rivers,
Mhm.
with the situation with her mom. We didn't see the rookies play, the picks play. So that's another thing.
Which
That
doesn't make sense to me, but
Yeah, so I don't want to get into that too much. But the Seattle Storm did look really, really good.
yeah.
But moving forward, because we probably have maybe about 10 or 15 minutes left. I do want to get into some waiver news. Uh, we did see that Cheyenne Sellers, the number 17 overall pick in the 2025 WNBA draft, was waived by the Golden State Valkyries. It was said that she did everything that she needed to do. However, from this standpoint, it we're looking at best 12 fit versus most talented. Um, I tweeted something out regarding to that statement, and I think what my tweet, for the most part, a lot of people agreed, but there were some that wanted to push back. But I do want to say this: when it comes to front offices, to me, I think we have to be better as a front office in navigating how we evaluate the talent that we want for our respective teams. To
Yeah.
me, I think that Golden State, from a expansion draft standpoint, I don't. This is just my professional opinion. I don't think they got it all the way right in the expansion draft alone. They did, of course, get one of the best players out of the expansion draft with all of the teams to meet in Kayla Thornton. Just coming off of a championship, just coming off of experience in two finals, 2 years in a row, and also being a very pivotal player prior to the trade to New York in Dallas. Like, she was really, really good in
Yeah.
Dallas. So that was one player. I thought that made sense from an expansion draft standpoint. Everyone else, we take with a grain of salt. Of course, there were a number of guards that were taken. However, when you're drafting, you drafted three guards. You literally drafted three guards. You drafted Justy. Shout out to Justy because she is really, really good. I really like her. Um, Out of Slovenia, if I'm not mistaken. Um, she's not coming this year.
Nope.
So that's a drafting stash. Okay, cool. You get Cheyenne at 17, which I thought was pretty decent because she is a 6'2" lengthy, you
Guard.
know, guard. She can score. She's a willing defender. And, if you give her the ball and put it in her hands at the shot clock, like she's willing to give you a bucket at the shot clock. At the end of the shot clock. I thought that was pretty decent of a pick. And then you go with Caitlin Chen towards the latter end of the draft, another guard. So my question was, why waste picks? Because I feel like it's at this point a wasted pick,
Agreed.
especially if you waive prior to even giving said draft player a chance to show off what they can do in an actual WNBA setting. So that was just confusing to me. I didn't like it as a fan. I'm trying to understand it as a professional. Really, I'm really trying to understand it as a professional because as a fan, you feel for Cheyenne, and at the same time, you also understand that this is a business. It is a
Yeah.
hard cap, right? There is no guarantee, especially if you were drafted in the second round. But why make the pick? That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Why make the pick? She did get picked up off of waivers by Atlanta, but I do want to hear, your thoughts on this particular situation and what we're looking at from a roster standpoint and why it happened the way it did.
Um, I have honestly no explanation for why the Valkyries are moving the way that they are. I agree with you, but I'm gonna be a little bit more harsher with my words. I think that they had
Go
a
ahead.
fucking terrible expansion draft. I think it was fucking awful. Like I literally think they had a terrible expansion draft. Like, and that's exactly why they didn't sign any free agents. Nobody wanted to go play there because if this is how y'all drafted, like why would I want to go? You know what I'm saying? Like, why would I want to go play there? Like, it didn't give them much to work with because half of your players are foreign and we don't even know which ones are coming to actually play. You know what I'm saying? And so, no disrespect to Tiffany Hayes, but she's my age. Like, that's your best player on your team. Like, and I'm not saying Tiffany Hayes can't hoop, but how many years y'all think she got left at an elite level? That's number one. Well, that's number two because the expansion draft was number one. That was ass. Number two, like it's not 12 players on this roster that's better than Cheyenne. I'm so sorry. And people were acting extremely dense. Like, what do you mean it's not 12 players on the roster better than her? And I was like, I mean exactly what I said. So if you need me to pick the players that are not, we can start off with Caitlin Chen. She is not better than Cheyenne. We can start off with what's the girl that went to why am I drawing a blank? The girl that went to Iowa, that's Caitlin's best friend that played for the
Oh,
HC last
Kate,
year.
Kate,
Kate
Kate.
Martin, not better than Cheyenne. So like, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing? Like, so when people say, when I'm saying it's not 12 people better than her on the team, why draft her? And the whole fit thing is an excuse because don't you draft the players that you think will fit on your team that will fit the need that you have? So why waste a draft pick? Like, for a team that is literally starting out and for a team that did so shitty in the expansion draft, you have no right to waste draft picks. Like this was literally a waste. You get her at 17, but you keep Caitlin Chen that you got in the late third round. People are going to start wondering, is this just supposed to be like an international type of team? Like, what message is the WNBA or Natalie in particular sending? The next few drafts and the next few free agency seasons are going to be very telling because it just doesn't sit right with me. Like, is it from a marketing standpoint because you know it's a lot of Asians in in the Golden State in that area wherever they play? Like, is that why? Like, it, I literally just don't know. So I'm trying to figure out, but Cheyenne should have been on this team. And so some people were saying, oh, it was her injury. Her sister debunked that. She came on TikTok and said Cheyenne is 100% healthy. Her dad came on Twitter and said the same thing. She passed the Maryland physical, the exit physical, and she passed the Valkyries physical. So stop with the lies about her not being healthy. The knee is healthy. They just didn't want her on the team. Why the fuck are you making this girl move her whole life across country?
Yeah, yeah. I
Like,
didn't
if
get
y'all
that.
knew she wasn't gonna fit on the team, and then the last thing I'll say about it is, even if you know she's not gonna make the team, let her at least play in one preseason game so that she can at least show her talent to other teams so that they can possibly pick her up.
Give
Like,
her
give her a
that.
fighting
Yeah,
chance.
give her
Give her a
that
fighting
chance.
chance. Even for example, the Bree Hall, right? I figured Bree Hall was not going to make the Fever because they're so deep, right?
Right.
I hated that they drafted her because I figured she wasn't going to make it. But at least they gave her an opportunity to get in the game yesterday and she scored the last 9 points. So now teams have that to look at. Hey, she can score in the WNBA. You know what I'm saying? Like she's looking aggressive. So now teams have a baseline of what she can do so they can see if they're interested or not. They didn't even give Shot that opportunity. And that's the
Absolutely.
part that pisses me off. You mean to tell me the best player on Maryland last year, a team that almost defeated South Carolina to go to the Elite Eight, can't stick on a roster? Come on now.
Yeah, yeah. I I think it's what should we call this? Is it like the nice twin versus evil twin type thing? Like publicly I'm saying, "Oh yeah, I'm being very dainty. I'm not really, I'm not really spicing it up." But my sister, nah, she gonna spice it up for you guys. She's definitely gonna let y'all know ain't shit sweet. So
God's still working on me, y'all.
I'm gonna tell you the truth. No, 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 no. It's okay because sometimes, of course, we need that. We need that for sure. But shout out to Cheyenne Sellers because she did get picked up by the Atlanta Dream. I think that the Atlanta Dream hopefully could find a way to keep her around.
Yeah,
I think that again, from her versatility, that's what the Atlanta Dream is kind of like thriving on right now. They're thriving on their versatility at that guard spot. When you have an Alicia Gray, a Ryan Howard, a Haley Jones, right? You bring in a Cheyenne Sellers at that spot, right? The
yeah,
smallest player, quote unquote, that you would potentially have at this point now is Jordan Canada. So when you have that type of versatility and you can mix and match, you can go small ball where Cheyenne can play the four. And again, we'll see this hopefully in some preseason action if they have some preseason action going on. But I think that the Atlanta Dream did the right thing in getting her claiming her off of waivers.
yeah.
You know, last thing of the night, and we will give you guys the rest of the night. I must talk about the A1s that will be releasing tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
Pink Aura. Shout out to arguably one of the greatest players that we've seen in the WNBA and in basketball history, and the best player in the WNBA right now in Asia Wilson.
Top
Again,
five, and she ain't five.
I, I think that the rollout, right, has been such a great thing since of course, she has a shoe.com
Yeah,
rollout last year to the official shoe dropping in February, if I'm not mistaken, of this year and giving us a preview of it. And now the time is now. The time is here. It's going to be available on sneakers and Nike.com and wherever get your sneakers on tomorrow. Another release on the 8th of the Pink Aura. She has two more colorways coming out the following week on the 15th. I call it the Ghost White and the
the
blue
blue is
colorway.
different, bro.
I'm definitely copping the
Definitely getting
blue.
the blue.
I'm definitely getting the blue one.
And
So
I'm not gonna lie, when somebody leaked the original blue, whatever it was, I wasn't really feeling it. Like I was like, eh. But when I saw the official, because I think the leak was a little bit off. Like the leak
yeah,
version was off.
yeah.
When I saw the official, I'm like, oh, I gotta get those. I'm definitely getting those.
Listen, I'm calling the blue ones. So y'all, I'm dating myself, but I'm calling the blue ones the thin line between love and hate.
Yes.
And if you remember in that movie when Lynn Whitfield showed Martin her view of the ocean and it was like this aura blue,
Mm-hmm.
literally. That's why I'm calling them the thin line between love and hate. Like I'm a I'm a semi sneakerhead. I wouldn't say pseudo sneakerhead, but I'm a semi sneakerhead, so I like calling sneakers, certain things. But I'm calling those blue joints the thin line between love and hates because that blue and the way that it look and the waves obviously the way that it looks on like oh my god I can't wait to get those but this release and this whole press release throughout the year has been amazing and we can't leave without talking about the commercials.
Yeah.
The commercials bringing the culture into me, bringing back what athletes and why we wanted to follow these athletes. Nike has done an amazing job in bringing that back to us. The roots, that Asia has, in uh, recreating the Miss Mary Mack, and I just think that just those commercials just bring back what we saw in the Gatorade Be Like Mike commercials, the
Yeah.
Nike, Spike Lee, Is It the Shoes, the
Yes.
Penny Hardaway, Little Penny with the Chris Rock voiceover, like it brought those back. And even going back on the women's side with the Cheryl Swoops with
Mm-hmm.
Kyla Pratt, and the
Yep.
Little Rascals, Don Staley, and it just brings that
Yeah.
type of energy back, and that's what I love most about this shoe release. um your thoughts?
I'm glad that you said that because as I've been saying this entire time, I talked about it also when we were on Jump Ball and Study Hall with Yana and Lo, shout out to them and the committee. But like I said, I'm saying the same thing here. And also Justina, don't want to forget about her. So to me, this shoe and merch line is more than a shoe and merch line. It's a cultural
It's a
movement.
whole
And those
culture.
commercials over the weekend completely encapsulated that. And for me, it's very nostalgic. And I see people on the timeline saying, oh, it's like a Southern thing. Like, no, it's a Black people's thing, period. Like, but from the Asia Barrettes to the double dutching to the Miss Mary Matt, like to her paternal grandparents being in the church, like pictures of them being in the church, or her parents being in there, to them just kicking it on the front stoop. Like literally just kicking it out front. It's just a blackety black commercial. I love everything about it. Um, and without any bias, honestly, it's one of the best shoe commercials I've ever seen.
Yeah,
Like, I mean, both of them. And then how dope is it that Malia Obama directed it? Like, how dope is that? The first black president's daughter directed this amazing commercial that resonates with so many black people. Like, and I don't think people, if you're not of the culture, it probably doesn't mean as much to you, and that's fine. It's not for you to get. You know what I'm saying? Because the ones that get it. Even as simple as Asia with the hoods having a satin inside of the hood. That's blackness. Like, and I just love, 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 love that young girls or even young boys as well, especially ones that look like us, black children, are able to have such a dynamic human being as a role model. Just seems like, I've had a few interactions. It's not like we know each other on a personal level or anything like that, but just always so humble, respectful,
same.
like just a good human being. Like, Roscoe and her mama, Miss Eva, they raised this girl the right way.
I love them so much.
Man,
And
listen.
we have a little degree of separation. Like
Right,
I literally love them so much.
right.
So
So it's
we'll
like
continue.
they raised her right. It's just so reassuring to see that young black kids that look like us literally have somebody to look up to. That's not
Facts.
out here just, wilding out and just doing, wild stuff that kids do. Because we got to remember, Asia's not a kid, but she's younger than me. She's 28, so she's still young. But like it's just levels to it, and I love that every time she's doubted, she just steps it up a notch and continually just steps it up a notch. So I will probably, to be honest, I'm probably gonna try to get every pair. Like I know it's OD, but like when I see greatness, and especially when they look at like me, I'm going to spend my money there because we spend our money with these places that don't even respect us, right?
Facts.
So
Facts.
how can we not be behind this young black girl that's trying to build generational wealth for her family, that's trying to keep the black culture at the forefront of just pop culture in general? Like how can we literally cannot let her fail. We can't.
Nah, at
It's
all.
on us
At
to
all.
make sure that Asia does not fail. And I'm gonna play my part. My son getting a pair too. Like we all rocking the A1s in this household. So I'm just incredibly proud of Asia. Like I'm proud of her. Like I done, that's my sister or my cousin or somebody like that. Like I'm legitimately proud of her. And as much flack as we gave Nike, I'm not saying that we were wrong for giving them that flack, but they did it the right way.
And they
Like
listened
they
for sure.
have bodied They have bodied this rollout from doing the pop-ups to the shoe.com website to the commercials that's bringing that feeling back, that nostalgic. Like, and we need this in such a tumultuous time that we're living in. They are literally trying to dismantle black families and black people in general. They're trying to get rid of our history. So it's just so nice to have something to cheer about, something that brings that feel back. You know what I'm saying? And listen, y'all know I can talk about black people all day. So I'm gonna leave it there. I'm super proud of Asia, like super proud of everything she's done. And this is only the beginning, honestly. Like this is
Yeah.
only the beginning.
And that's the mic drop right there. We're gonna leave it right there. Because there's nothing else to even add on to that. So we want to thank you all for kicking it with us. And
It's
that's
been
it
a
for this.
while. It's been a
Yeah, it's been
while.
a
We
while.
know.
It's been a while. And we really, really appreciate you guys. Always showing love, always, doing, whatever you can to support. We really, really appreciate it. And that'll be it, for this week's Keeping It 9450, codename WBB. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you're on YouTube. Drop a rating. Let us know, what you want to, talk about, what you want to hear about. And, we'll do everything that we can to provide that. Of course, we want to thank, our sponsors, SeatGeek. Again, use the code the 9450 for $20 off your first purchase. Shout out to Home Field Apparel as well. I know that it's not the 9450 technically, but we all eat here. So if you use K.Lu15, you can get 15% off of your order. Welsh Mold Coffee as well. Always, we appreciate what you do. And with that being said, this has been the very first episode of the 2025 WNBA season for Keeping It 9450,
Hold on real
codename
quick, Kate. So
WBB.
we'll be back on Mondays at 8:30 again,
We
y'all.
will be back on Mondays. Yes, we will be back on Mondays at 8:30. Shout out to, again, I can't say it enough. Shout out to you, Lo. You are the pinnacle of black excellence and excellence, period. Always standing up at the forefront of all of the issues that we know as America.
I
And
appreciate that.
I really, really appreciate you 1,000 million, trillion, billion, zillion percent. Of course, you can follow us on Twitter at the 9450, at the 9450 underscore on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Follow myself at K.Lu3H on all platforms. That's K.Lu3H. And of course, go ahead and shout yourself out, Lola.
You can check out the other podcast that I'm on, the Best Damn W Show, on all streaming platforms. I think the Twitter is the Best W Show. Don't get me wrong, y'all. Just tap in with me and I'll get
Watch,
it
watch
right.
this, y'all. Watch this, y'all.
He
It's
know
it's
more than
it's
me.
it's the best W.
Okay, the best.
Hmm.
So I knew Dan wasn't in one of the things. So the Best W Show. Follow us, hit us up, subscribe, all of that. I also wanted to shout out just my personal Twitter. It's Lola Back, BYKE. Don't, it's not Lolo Back, BYKEE, the one with
Do
the
not,
two E.
yeah.
That is an
Report,
imposter.
report that. Report
Please
that,
report
mama.
it, y'all.
Keep doing it.
LOLBYKEE. That is not me. Okay. That is a weirdo that has no life that's impersonating me. Like, bro, I'm just Xavier's mom. Like, why are you impersonating me? But anyway, so if you see wild tweets, if you see me supporting anything close to whiteness, it's not me. Okay.
Yeah.
That's just not me. I'm gonna just throw that out there. And then follow me on TikTok. Hoops with the low, hoops with spelled the regular way, WITH low, LO. Yeah, and that's where I'm at.
Yeah, and of course, shout out to the crew. Shout out to DA. Shout out to Britton Tay. Shout out to
Yep.
Corey. We out here boots on the ground. They recently did the WNBA draft. I'm sorry I wasn't able to make the WNBA draft this year. We had some traveling difficulties. So apologies for that, but you guys will probably see me right there in Indiana for the WNBA All Star. I'm very excited about that. Again, we love you guys. And again, we're out. Peace out, y'all.